good evening, everyone. This is the USMLE Sarthi team, and we hopefully are live on YouTube. And today we have a panel of experts. They are our panelists. We are going to talk about changes in the USMLE system, the upcoming changes, especially step one, and some preparation tips, and also what kind of mentorship we offer and you can expect out of this entire engagement. So if you are just joining us, we will take questions on YouTube, so you can start typing there. We'll just get started. I want to introduce our panel. So why don't we start with Dr. Reddy, Praneeth Reddy. So Praneeth, do you want to introduce?
Thanks, Pawan. Hello, everyone. So we've been doing live sessions every few weeks now, and I am Praneeth. I'm from India. I've recently been ECFMD certified, and I'm an internal medicine residency applicant.
Thank you, Praneeth. Siddhant, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so hello everyone. I'm Siddhant. I'm from BJ Medical College, Ahmedabad. I took my step one when I was in my third year. So I hope I'll be able to help you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Siddhant. Raj, do you want to go next?
Yes, hello everyone, I'm Rasha. I recently took my step one in March this year. So looking forward to help anyone who has just started this journey.
Rishi?
Hi everybody, so I'm Rishi Chaudhary over here. I'm from SDM Medical College and I recently took my step one somewhere around March end, and like I've joined here just to help you out. So let's hope we can help you out in the best way possible.
Okay, thank you. Pragyek? You are muted, Pragyek, so you have to unmute.
So hello everyone, I am Pragyek. I am from Nepal and I graduated in 2019 from Lumbini Medical College. I applied for step one in March of this year, and I'm very excited to help you throughout this mentorship program.
Okay, thank you. And before we start, all our panelist profile are on the website. So if you go to usmlesarthi.com and then on step one, you will see their profiles and how we help. And of course, we also run a Telegram group. So, you guys can join the group. But let me get started. And the first question, obvious, which a lot of you have asked us, that now step one exam is changing to pass fail, the implications for IMGs specifically, but more importantly, what details will be included in this course report. And the second question, will the pass cutoff be increased and therefore make the exam tougher? So many of you have asked us. So let me go to Praneeth. Praneeth, can you talk a bit more about all the issues?
Yes, Pawan. So yes, a very important question, and I think a lot of people have this question now. So the USMLE have recently released the samples of how the pass or fail report will look for those taking exam on or after January 26, 2022. So let me just quickly share my screen to go over some details of the same. So
Sure.
are you guys able to see my screen?
Let me see. We are, I don't know if it is visible on YouTube. Is it visible, guys, on YouTube? Okay, but in any case, Praneeth, why don't you walk us through?
Okay. So basically, there is a different report. There's difference in how it looks for both pass as well as fail. So first, the pass report. So for someone who has passed the exam after taking it on or after January 26, 2022, the report not only includes your personal details and that you have passed, but the report will also include content weightage. So the percentage or the weightage that is given to each of these subjects. So remember that this is not your performance on the exam. This is only representative of how much weightage is given to each of these subjects. So the past report is very simple. That is how it is. And now let me show you the report for someone who has failed the exam. So for someone who's failed the exam, the report will include not only your personal details and that you failed the exam, but number one, it will include a graphical representation showing how far below the minimum passing score did he or she fall. So you will know how far below you are from the minimum passing score. And number two, it will also include or show your performance. That is, if you have scored same, above, or below uh, in each of the subjects with respect to someone who has just passed the exam. So they are not comparing your scores with someone who scored very high or above average. They are comparing your performance in each of the subjects with someone who has just passed the exam. And the intention of this is only to help you better, prepare better during the second attempt. So that is how the score report is going to be after January 26th. And coming to the second part of the question, if USMLE or if the step one is getting tougher, or it'll be hard to pass after January 26th. So the USMLE has also recently announced that they are considering to review the minimum passing score and if any changes are needed to the same. So that must have created the panic, but let me tell you, that is not how the USMLE works. It is a fairly standard exam, and if any, USMLE step one is getting easier but not tougher. So the USMLE also mentioned that this review takes place every 3 to 4 years. That is, they review the minimum passing score, and any previous changes to the minimum passing score or the cutoff has not resulted in more than plus or minus 2 points shift in the score. So nothing to worry over here. And also, the best thing would be you just continue to prepare at your best for the exam, and your mock exams will tell you if you're ready for the exam or not. So never rush to take your exam, or don't delay it for any other reason.
Okay. Thank you, Praneeth. So I think you can stop sharing if you're done. So yes, thank you. And guys, anyone who has questions can of course put it on our YouTube, and we are monitoring it. So we'll get to that. So now I want to go to some of the other questions, especially relating to the preparation and the various phases and how you can prepare for it. The most common kind of a question is, how do I divide this preparation of step one in various phases? And how do I set my goals? Sometimes I cannot reach my goals. Is it normal? Does it happen to everyone? So Siddhant, what has been your experience of preparing for this exam step one in terms of your own self motivation, setting the goal, and the various phases you followed?
Okay, so I'll first start with that for this exam and in for USMLE journey in particular, we need to have a very strong planning, we need to be organized. So as we starting for this exam, step one, we need to have a vision in our mind. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the preparatory phase, like the first phase when you're new to this. So the first thing is that you need to know what will be the challenges in this journey and what do you need to expect and what can pull you down. In gaining this knowledge will make your ride a little smooth. So the first thing is in the preparatory phase, you need to get familiar with the content of the medicine in general, content of the USMLE step one. And also, most importantly, we need to get familiar with the question writing style, because many of us haven't been used to that question writing style in our medical school. So that would be the first thing. The second thing that we need to really know is what things are we weak at and what things we find easy, so that we could differentiate them and stress on the weaker portions. Okay, so from here we would talk about that. What do we know about expectations? What expectations do you need to have from this? So, firstly, you might get overwhelmed with the kind of questions in UWorld because you have not been challenged this way. Number one. Number two, that things that you will start doubting yourself that whether you will be able to retain the content. And that is a self-doubt that every student goes through. It's okay. It's totally normal and natural. The third thing that you need to be like whether you will be able to complete in time. So these are the normal stress that any student goes through, and you just need to maintain your patience to go through it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I'll take a peek at our questions that are coming up. and then I'll go to the next panelist. So View is asking, I graduated in 2020. After that, I did 1 year house job, CK 228, 1 month USC in radiology. Step 1 in October. Should I apply this match or next year? Uh, so if you are applying to radiology and your CK score is 228 and you are applying late in October, I think it's a very tough road to climb. It may not be easy. If you can do USC, of course, uh, that'll be good between now and September. But remember, if you apply late, regardless of the specialty, the chances of interviews go down. However, if you were to apply to internal medicine and you have a high score in CK and probably a few USCs, if you can travel, maybe worth a shot in October or November. So that's one question. Lekhala is asking, can a graduate do clerkships? The answer is graduate can do hands-on experiences. They are called externships. They are not called clerkships, but yes, you can do the externships. There is enough detail on our website. We have about 80 of these electives and rotations. You can check our website. Um, last question before I move on, and I'll pick these questions later on as well. I'm starting to prepare now for step 1. Can I apply next year, September? And if you can give me a rough deadline. So, we have a complete video on timeline preparation for 1 year. It's already on our channel. So, I think Dr. Reddy is going to post that link, but otherwise, it is on YouTube, which will give you a complete timeline as you get started. So now let me move on and pick some other questions related to preparation. So I want to go to Rishi and, in terms of the challenges that you faced, especially in the revision phase, and, how do you keep up with all the information?
All right. So, like when everyone moves out of the preparatory phase, you enter a phase which is called your revision phase. This is basically the phase where you're fine tuning everything. Like whatever you have read in your preparatory phase, be it boards or beyond, first aid, UWorld, first pass, this is your phase where you're mastering everything. You have to go through your entire first aid. You have to revise whatever annotations you have. And also one more thing is there, not just the first aid, some people might be doing a second pass of UWorld, and this is the phase where you should be like a pro at solving questions. You have already tried these questions in your first pass, so now this is the phase where you're actually going to be a pro. Okay, so that's all you have to do in this. This is your fine tuning phase. But some problems what you might face, and which I also personally felt, is that you may have planned your schedule and all everything really well. But the thing is, this is the phase where you sometimes are left behind, because suppose say you have planned cardiology for today. After 3 days you want to shift to renal, but you're weak in some part of cardiology, like say in ECGs. So you won't be able to reach renal in the next 3 days. So that's all right. You have to make sure you hone on your weaknesses in this phase, and so that when you are exam ready, this is your phase where you should almost be close to your exam and be ready for it. Okay. And also one more thing which I felt is, like during this phase you might feel very burnt out. Okay, so that's not a problem. That happens with everyone. When you feel burnt out, shut your books, shut your world, and just rest for it that day. Okay, and start afresh another day. All right. That is all you have to keep sure in your revision phase. And also, please don't try to do anything new. Some things which might happen with people is, like, suppose you go onto Reddit, you see some out of the world question, might see some out of the world questions on Facebook. Those questions might trouble you. You might feel, oh, I didn't do this part, I'll go to that resource, maybe I'll get those questions right. That is not the thing you have to do. This is your phase where whatever you have done in your preparatory phase, you have to consolidate it. This is like nearing the end of your journey. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Rishi. Before I move on, another question: can we do externships on H4 visa? And the answer is yes. You can do hands-on rotations on H4 visa. And I will take another question. Maybe Praneeth, you can take it, and maybe we can have a detailed discussion on this. Rikesh is asking, Kaplan or boards and beyonds for step 1. Do you want to take it, Praneeth?
Okay, so both are good resources, but it depends on where actually you are at the stage of your preparation for the step one. In general, if you are in the focused preparation for step one and you've done your basic sciences, you passed out of like second year of med school, then I would say boards and beyond would be better because it is more efficient. That is, in the limited amount of time, it gives you the information that is required for the exam. But if you still find difficult after you do boards and beyond UWorld first aid, and you still think you don't understand some concepts and all, that is a time to go and watch specific videos from Kaplan.
Okay, thank you. And so now let's talk about the final kind of race to the finish line stage, the slog overs, if you will, in T20, the last 2 or 3 overs. So how do you prepare during that last phase? And I want to go to Raj, in terms of the final touches. How do you do it? How do you prepare, and the assessments and all? Can you talk a bit about the final phase?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And I feel after you have consolidated your knowledge, after you have gone through all the resources, you might have, a lot of self doubt. Also, you have a deadline that you need to take the exam. You have a slot booked, and this is the time, as sir rightly told, as in T20s, you need to keep yourself very very calm. You need to trust the process, trust yourself, back your instincts that you will get there. So this is the phase where you might have some unexpected nbme harsh curves, some questions on Reddit. So I feel this is the phase where you need to shut yourself and focus, and trust yourself that you have done this and you'll reach there. So the more calm, the more confident you are in the last 4 weeks, the better the results are. The exam day, especially, the day before the exam, a lot of people have sleep issues, and a lot of people, they freak out that whether they will be able to reach there or not. But all these self assessments are there to help you know your weaknesses. These are not exact predictors. So till day, like, if you are learning each concept, like every day a new concept, you are good to go. You don't have to stress about all the curves and all the predictors at all. So I feel, if you are very steady and you maintain your composure very well, then you might just have a great power play at the end of your, at 7 hour long shot. And the more composed you are, the better results. Definitely it can, change your score plus minus 3 to 4 from what you were expecting. So exam day also, it might, you might see some weird questions, some questions which you haven't even thought of, but those are the questions that might be experimental questions, or you just need to, follow your gut and tick those, but the rest is in your hand. So I feel in those final 4 weeks and the exam day, the more confident you are about the process that you went through, the better the results are.
Okay. Thank you, Raj. And just as a reminder to our audience, we have a mentorship program. All the panelists that you see on screen are mentors, and these are the kind of tips and tricks that we offer in the mentorship program. So I encourage you to go to the website and look at the step one mentorship. This is something a lot of you have asked. So I just want to point your attention to that, and maybe Dr. Reddy will give you a link. Let me take a couple of questions before I get to the next, discussion item. So Abhishek is asking, I am 29 years old and I haven't given step one. Is my age going to affect my math? So 29 is too young, right? It's not that bad. You are well within the range. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. And yes, match is definitely possible. 29, 30, 32 is not the bar. A bar in age is not in general a bar unless you are of course 50 plus and all. uh, View is asking, how bad is a score of 228 on CK, aiming for internal medicine and I guess fellowship in cardiology or in emergency medicine. uh, so the answer is, it is, if you look at the NRMP reports, 228 is okay. It's not an excellent score, but it's not bad. A good step one score, if you're taking for the 3-digit one, will definitely help. 240, 240 plus. USCE will surely help, some research, and we are starting a research batch, the next batch in September. So research will help. So it's a combination of a lot of things. But 228 is a reasonable score. I won't say it's a bad score. A match in internal medicine is still possible. So Srinivas is asking a question, but I will come to that. The question is about UWorld question bank. Other than the UWorld question bank, what question bank, I guess, will you recommend? And that leads me to the next part, which is emboss and things like that. What all should we be preparing? So Pragyik, who has done extensively emboss, I guess. So what is the best time to do the emboss question bank? Should I do right from the beginning? And then I guess we can take the other questions which are coming up, other than UWorld, what all should we do? So maybe you can answer all this together. Project.
Okay, sir. So basically, the more questions you are exposed to, the better will be your test taking skills. So a new question bank will also give you an opportunity to see a question from a different angle, and it will also enforce this concept, and it will help us remember them better. So Amboss is very great at serving this purpose. But what I want to reinforce is that UWorld is still the best QBank resource out there. So what I would like to suggest is that you should go through UWorld first, and depending upon how well you master it and how much time you have left in your revision phase, then you can definitely add Amboss in your preparation phase. So while you are using an Amboss, I would like to suggest that you do 4 to 5 Hamburg questions. So and those are more difficult questions. So it is very when you do these questions, it is very important that you remember that the review should be very quick and thorough, and you should never bother yourself with the percentage that you get, because it can be discouraging sometimes. So just keep doing a block every day just for the exposure of new questions, and it will definitely improve your test taking skills, and it will reinforce the concepts for that little extra edge, I think. That's all.
Thank you. So I guess we answered that. Now I will open the questions to you all, and depending on who feels to answer that, you can. So Soham is asking which NBME to start first. Any thoughts, guys?
Okay, I take this. So if you're preparing for step one, like we already have done a video or a live session where we covered about new NBMEs, what you should be taking, what you should avoid. So I'll just go over a brief on that. So the new NBMEs are out, and there is not much experience with those. Like hardly people have done those NBMEs and given the exam, and the score is out. So in terms of predictiveness, don't bother much. But I would say, kind of from my experience or a small research that we did, I think NBME 26 is good. Like it doesn't have a very harsh curve, and it is relatively easier. So I would say you can start with NBME 26. But also another important question that comes up is, should I do all the previous ones and the new ones? So I would say no, just stick for the new ones. That will cover all the important concepts from the previous ones and have the relevant ones for the current exam, the current pattern of the exam. So just do the new ones, and you can start with NBME 26.
Thank you. I'll take the next one. Questions come from Lekhala. Non-US IMG step 1 221 chances in IM and pediatrics. So yes, so there are chances, of course. Pediatrics is slightly easier when it comes to scores, but remember, pediatrics has less spots than IM. But of course, like I said, there are a lot of things that go in match. Step 1 is one of them, of course. Then there is CK, then you can do electives or rotations, US research, if you can get a full-time research position, or even if you are in the home country, that helps. A lot of COVID experience nowadays. So definitely you can match, but get a good CK score. And if you have time, then step 3 also. Okay. Then Pratik is asking, how to get increase the endurance for 8 hours. That's a very important question. I get fatigued on NBME. So Who wants to take a shot at this? How can students increase
I'll,
their endurance?
yes, sir. So this used to happen with me a lot, right? So how I improved was that we initially in the preparatory phase we have the habit of solving 40 or 50 questions a day and not more, and when it comes to your revision phase, I feel the second pass of the world if you are taking, then you can pace yourself for 4 blocks a day or 5 blocks a day and try to simulate your daily body schedule in the same way you are going to give exam. Like it usually starts on 7 o'clock in the morning, and a lot of us have different times of preparation in the day. So I feel 1 month prior, 1 month you schedule yourself for an 8 hour stretch sitting and taking 5 minutes break, as you want to do, you want to go like that in your exam. And 40 questions time mode, solve 3 4 blocks, review it, and slowly you can stretch it up to 8 hours or 10 hours and take those small blocks. So that worked for me. And I will, that is the way, like it won't come or just directly on the exam day or on just on nbme's day. You need to season yourself for that over a period of 21 22 days, and that gets into your cycle, and which also improves your score and your concentration. So do it daily, like in the last phase, 4 weeks, and it will definitely help you.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. Anyone else has other tips on increasing endurance? Okay, let me move on to the next question. Uh, if 2022 Feb first year graduate by 2027 August, uh, oh, so he's just starting graduating by 2027. Is there a possibility to apply and get into residency the same year, 2027? So obviously 2027 is a long way off. We don't know what will change in the ECFMG policies and all that, but some things have always remained kind of constant. Residency will start 1st of July, more or less. There'll be all those deadlines. In all probability, if you can get ECFMG certified before the rank order list, including whatever your school has to do, you should be able to apply the same year. A lot of Caribbean students do that. Obviously, AMGs do that. They graduate in May, start in July. So it is definitely possible, but for 2027, I guess we just have to wait to find out more. Uh, Naman is asking, does UWorld cover the 100% of the syllabus for, I guess, step one? So who wants to take this?
So I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I think UWorld prepares you really well for the content. When you give these exams like step exams, there's no like fixed set boundary that this is the syllabus and you can just do it and go. I think these preparatory tools like you will just prepares you for a test which can be random, but the concepts, the diseases don't change, like sarcoidosis or any disease won't change. There are limitations to a disease. Once you understand it quite well, you'll be able to do well. So you don't have to worry about it. You will definitely does a good job in in completeness, kind of giving the syllabus a little structure. So that will help.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I will move on. Next question, Mariam is asking a very important one, I guess. How do you improve your CV when we are moving now to pass fail? Very, very important, because now what will happen is the historically IMGs have had an advantage when it comes to this 3-digit scores, step one and CK. So that has been an advantage. But now step one is going away. So what that will mean is there'll be a lot of emphasis on CK. There will be a lot of emphasis, whether they say it or not, on step three. So again, something quantifiable. So always remember that. Then there will be other non-quantifiable kind of things that you will have to work on. So for example, research will become very important. Research will become important. Your electives or rotations, they will also become very, very important. So if you are planning for your USMLE journey as it gets to pass fail, you have to focus on these things also. Research, electives, volunteering in your med school, the college, taking initiatives out there. If you are from India, say, for example, the ICMR projects or some of those initiatives, on research. And I'm sure there are others in other countries also. So those kind of things will help. And I guess the advantage of pass fail and CS cancellation, I suppose, is a lot more people can now try for step one, because it's, the score is gone. So pass will be a pass, so you are on kind of equal footing with others. And then CS, if it stays cancelled, you reduce the cost, so you don't have to travel to US. So almost everything in USMLE, other than possibly the on-site rotation, so step one and CK and whatever the other exam comes up, you'll be able to take it from your home country, hopefully reducing your cost. So there are some advantages, but in terms of this CV, I already said what you can do. Non-US IMG score 223 on step one. Again, like I've already answered what you need to do for IM. Okay. Someone is asking NBME online or offline. Who wants to take this? I hear this question all the time.
I'll take this.
Okay.
Okay, so the thing is, if you have 5 to 6 NBMEs, what I felt and what most of us suggest is at least 2 to 3 you should try to do online. Because the thing about doing NBMEs online is not just the score or prediction, it is about fine tuning yourself. You should be able to do those questions in that fixed allotted time, take breaks accordingly. So it is basically to fine tune you for the exam. That's all. And in case you're doing it offline, because many people I have seen, like they try to do 3 NBMs offline, 2 online, or something like that. So make sure you do it in a timed fashion, like you switch on your phone with a timer on it and you stick to that time limit. That's all. That is the only thing. Main thing about NBMs is, other than the score predictability, is managing your time for the final exam.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me proceed. Amuz is asking, is pass-fail pattern or previous pattern itself is better? I think we answered that. Is it good to take the exam in December or after January? Uh, so let me take that. So, and then the question is, what's the advantage, disadvantage of pass-fail? Is it a huge change? So we have done another video on advantages of the pass fail, and I just went over some of these. But whether to take in December or January, I think Dr. Reddy has already explained in other videos. The simple rule is this: if you think you are going to be able to get a good score, and a good score for a visa seeking IMG, say in IM and all, the traditional specialties, at least 240. So if you think 240, 250 plus, you are getting in your assessments, you can do that. Then I think it makes sense to take it in December. And otherwise, I think just go for pass fail if you are in 220s or so. Sanket is asking if I give any step before joining PG in India. So I'm assuming you mean residency in India. How can I go about during my PG preparing for USMLE? So that is hard. Obviously you will be doing residency full time and preparing for USMLE, but many students have done it. They have been able to complete their residencies and do USMLE. Uh, my suggestion is, if you haven't started the PG, I mean, taking USMLEs with good scores now, if you're a recent graduate, always helps. Otherwise you anyway have to do a residency as you come here. So, but yes, it is a very challenging part to do it with your residency. Okay. Is the fact that USA always needs IMGs to fulfill the health demands? Will there be a bonus for IMGs even after the step one turns pass fail? So I think step one pass fail has nothing to do with the demand of healthcare in US or the obviously continuing demand for IMGs. There will always be a demand. There has been a demand for the last 30 years. Yes, there are programs have a lot of IMGs. There will always continue to be IMGs there. I think the challenge will be the assessment. How do these programs now assess you compared to the other candidates? So I don't think you need to worry about the demand for IMGs going down. Sanket, I think I already answered the question, but maybe someone can. How to prepare for USMLE after the NEET PG? So, has any one of you looked at the NEET PG syllabus, and how easy or difficult it is to prepare after NEET PG?
So I think I don't know if the question is simultaneous preparation for NEET and USMLE, or is he asking after he joins residency how to prepare for USMLE?
Multiple questions. He's asking after NEET PG also. So I
I
don't.
would, if you prepared for NEET, so to answer the first question, that is to do NEET and USMLE together, is it the same? Is it different? So I would say NEET is more some kind of factual base, but things are changing. The last NEET was more of conceptual base, some kind of USMLE style. So definitely, if you want to do residency in India, then prepare at your fullest for NEET PG. That will definitely help in your preparation for USMLE further. So if you are doing residency, then I would say it is tough to manage USMLE at the same time in India, because the workload is usually high. But one thing you can do is, because step one is becoming pass or fail, you can definitely finish that off before you complete residency, especially when you're in your second and third years. That time, you will have juniors, maybe things will be a little easy. But after that, you can do a dedicated prep for CK, and then continue the USMLE journey.
Okay. Let me move on to the next question. Is there a minimum required clinical rotation hours uh, for I guess the LORs and matching? So in terms of the rotation hours, typically if you are an IMG applying for residency, they generally will require, well, it's not a requirement, but they prefer US LORs. Minimum 3 months, I think we can safely say, if you are a recent graduate, possibly you can use one home country LOR, but we prefer if you use at least 3 months of USCE, three LORs from the US. That's always a good idea. And I think Chandan is asking a similar question. In terms of pandemic, is the LOR from clinical rotations in US is absolutely required? So pandemic has changed a couple of things. I think if you have COVID experience in your home country, that LOR and that experience is very, very valuable. We have had students match last year with COVID experience in home country. Then the second is telerotation. So if you cannot travel, try to do telerotations. Obviously, of course, on-site rotations are still preferable. Uh, I won't say they are absolutely required, because a lot depends on your profile also. But try to travel to US using NIE, or coming through other countries if there is a visa or a flight ban. I think you will always find US rotations to be very, very useful. Minimum cost of electives in the US and maximum cost of electives. So this is from Fatima. Fatima, we have done a video on the entire cost of USMLE it is on our YouTube channel. Minimum cost can be 1,000. We have many electives on our websites, maybe even free. We have some for 800, 1,000. Maximum, if you go to other agencies, can be as high as 3,000, 4,000. If you are looking for direct university electives, the best is to apply directly to them. Otherwise, if you go through agencies, it can vary, but minimum can be free to 5 to 800. There are some on our website. Maximum, like I said, many agencies can charge up to 3,000. Aniket is asking, is there a difference between clinical experience gained by recent medical graduate through externship versus medical student through a clinical elective? So yes, there is a huge difference. If you are a student and if you do elective, because of the US regulations and the healthcare system here, you are able to work just as a US medical student. So interaction with the patient, EMR, and you can be very well integrated in the hospital system or the university program where you are doing elective. Now, externship is slightly different because you may or may not be able to do the same things. Externships are easier to find because most of these are either in affiliated clinics or even in those hospitals. They are easier to find. In terms of experience, some of the externships give you excellent experience, and we have some of those in our website. But yes, if you are getting chance to do an elective, always go for an elective. Very valuable, good strong LOR, and programs look for electives. Okay, so if I'm aiming for internal medicine, a competitive program, should I risk taking step one before pass fail, knowing that I'm not as prepared as I would like to be? If you're not as prepared as you would like to be, then I think pass fail is the way to go. Okay, is extending our externship but not having done USC due to COVID a red flag? So, Praneeth or others, what are your thoughts on extending the externship but not having done USCE for this student?
So I think basically most of the IMGs from India, they usually extend their internship, and that is when they usually go for rotations. So any gap, I think 6 months to 1 year or less is fine. It is usually done, so programs might not really care much about it. And you just need to be honest because you've taken the gap. So you just need to explain whatever you've done. And because of COVID, if you couldn't take your externship, you scheduled it but couldn't do it, then just mention the same. And like Pawan always says, the most important thing is done. You can't change that. So just focus on the rest of the application.
Thank you. Thank you, Praneeth. Okay. Next question. 40-year-old non-US IMG, YOG 2000, just started preparation. What are my chances for matching NIM? Well, first is your scores, or those things will definitely matter. Then you are a 2000 graduate, so you're obviously, wherever you've worked, that 20 years of experience is really going to be the key. If you've done home country residency, it is possible. Last year we did have, a couple of seasons ago, someone with 20-year YOG able to match. This last season we had 17 years, 13 years YOG. Scores are very important, and then your professional network in the US will help you also. Faraz is asking, how can I find mentor who can guide me through my USMLE process? So Faraz, you can start with our step one mentorship, and then of course, for the other aspects, we also have give you guidance for say elective, research, and math. So you can go to our website and look first on the step one mentorship if you are needing that. Fatima is asking, does USMLE Sarthi guarantee LOR for all electives? So guarantee is a very hard term because LORs are performance based. So, if you have a reasonable performance or a great performance, yes, the physicians will give you an LOR. We have had students, if you just sign up and you don't attend, or, you miss 4 days in a week or 5, I think it's unreasonable to expect an LOR. So if you do well, if you attend, then yes. After I complete my MBBS degree, will we be accepted for any kind of clinical rotation, something similar in the US? And the answer is yes, you can do externships. Like I said, details on our website. Can USMLE Sarthi help me from the beginning of my journey? Yes, that's where we've started the step one mentorship. And so we start you with step one, there is rotations, there is research, and then there is the math. So yes, we can help you for your journey. Okay, we have at Inbas University from Turkey, some students. So we did do a webinar with them, so you can watch that. How early can I apply for step one exam if I'm planning to give it in June 2022? So anyone from the panel wants to answer? How early should they apply to step one?
So what I think is the earlier you start is the better. So I would suggest firstly just start as soon as possible. But 7 to 8 months period of time frame is mostly realistic to appear for step 1.
Okay, thank you. Is research publication useful for a match? So research, this is from Prashant. Research is absolutely important. It is not a requirement, but it always helps. And as I was saying, when step 1 is going to go pass fail, importance of some things will increase. Research is one of them. So while it is not requirement for ECFMG certification, it is not a requirement for match, but with the increasing competition, research will come into focus a lot more. We are starting our next batch in September for those of you who are interested. Nikita is asking, do you provide elective programs? And the answer is yes. My first suggestion is go to the universities directly, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, Harvard, if you can do it. If you cannot, then yes, of course, we have over 80 programs where we can help you. How do we get our medical school enrolled on the new VSLO requirement for some electives? So I think, Praneeth, we may have done a video on this, but do you want to take this?
Sure. I don't think we have done that yet, but that was the plan. So very few schools, medical schools from India are on the VSLO list, and they have the privilege to get into for many universities or hospital programs for electives in the US. So the way you start is you need to send a request from the official medical school email ID to get enrolled into the VSLO program, and then things go from there. They have some paperwork back and forth, some fees around, I think $200 or something, US dollars or something, and that's how you start. I will share that link or the email ID that you can start with on the comment section.
Then there's a question I don't, maybe I'll just read out and you guys can. What about ECFMG accreditation 2023? I don't know what this question means.
So I think probably asking about the 2024 accreditation rule.
Okay.
So things are changing, yes. So right now, the way to know if you are eligible for the to appear for USMLE is you go on to the World Director of Medical School list and then see if your medical school is on the list, and it should also have a ECFMG sponsor note. If that is the case, then you can appear. But from 2024, the way it works is the medical school accrediting agency of the country should be recognized by WFME. So that is a change. We have done an extensive video on that. But one important thing to note over here is if you apply for the certificate of identification, that is form 186 before 2024, then you will not fall under that 2024 rule. You can continue to apply for the USMLE exams under the current rule. So if you can just apply before 2024 just for the form 186. You don't even have to apply for the exam. So that is one thing, and I will post the link for the detailed video that we did on that.
Okay, thank you. Even after passing step 1 with low score, can I retake step 1 to improve my score? And the answer is no, unfortunately. If you've passed step 1, there's no way to retake. I think even with pass fail, that will not change. Once you pass it, you pass it. Or even if you have a low 3-digit score. What is the degree completion date on NRMP? It is the date on your degree. Can I start residency by 1 month late without physical copies of graduation? It depends on the program where you end up matching. Many of them are flexible if you're having issues of travel and all, but it is very program dependent. The program will have to tell you. If I want to apply for observership, externship in the US, will I get visa? That you have to check with the consulate. Obviously, now with the COVID and the flight ban, visa issues are hard to, kind of forecast what's going to happen. Number of years for applying residency, how does it affect if you have tried for 2 to 3 years? So it's not so much as what you have tried for 2 to 3 years, it is how you have shown the improvement, what else have you done. I don't think everyone matches in the first attempt, so they may take multiple times. I don't think that is a red flag. Then next question, Optha residency in India now want to change for neuro residency. How can I do that? Is this so? A lot of students do home country, especially in India, whether it's Optha, whether it's Derm or ortho. Obviously, these are very hard to match into in the US. But you focus on the transferable skills, the skills that you learned in the residency, and how you will apply to say IM, pediatrics, family medicine, and you can do it. A lot of our students have been able to do that successfully. Okay. When will the January slot open for eligibility period? Janeel is asking. Praneet, do you know?
I think it is 6 months before, but some of the ones, I mean, our mentors have taken their exam very recently, so they can add if that is not the case.
Okay. How does GPA affect my matching? I think more than your med school GPA, it is the USMLE scores, it is, the research, it is the USCE, all those things help. Now, of course, if you have some failures on your transcript, some repeats, that may impact especially the university programs. Okay. So NBME 27 score is 197, NBME 28 is 265, UWorld assessment 1 is 275, planning before December. Any suggestions? So Vidya Sagar is asking that. Anything?
If that's the case, I would say good to go. Nothing
Okay.
else.
Just take the exam, man.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay. I guess we are coming to the end, but I'll take one more question. How one should prepare for USMLE Step 1 if basics are weak from the medical school? So, important question, how to prepare for Step 1 if basics are weak?
So I like to add to this. So the thing is, most of us, what we do in medical school is we try to just pass off and finish off that particular year. So that is why, like even in our mentorship program, like we have told you, we have divided into a preparatory phase, revision phase, and a final consolidation phase. So that is how we have divided everything. And like in the preparatory phase, it is basically to check you where do you stand. That is why we suggest boards and beyond or whatever videos to watch so that you go according to them, you know where you stand. Then you start UWorld will expose you to your difficult areas, you will master them, and that is how you progress. Everyone feels they have weak basics until you don't jump into this sea of knowledge, which I'll call. You won't realize where exactly do you stand. So that is what, once you start, then only we can actually figure out where you are at, like how weak or how strong are you in a particular thing.
And that's a very good kind of suggestion. We need to assess your basics. We need to do that assessment before we can suggest you, and that is all included as part of mentorship. So do look at our Step 1 mentorship, and then we can help you further. What is the best order to take the new NBMEs? Anyone?
Okay. So, like I said before, there is no particular order. Just that what we consider when we plan the order is not only how predictive it is. It is more of, to get the rhythm. Some NBMEs have a harsh curve, some have an easier curve. So I don't want you to do the one with a very harsh curve right at the beginning or very close to the exam and then be disappointed. So that's the only reason, purpose to just schedule these exams. So I would say you can start with NBME 26, like I said. One thing to consider is 25 and 27 kind of have the harsh curve. So you can put them, one of them in between, but not towards the beginning or the end. And towards when it comes towards the end, it is best to have either one of the NBME 29 or 30 and UWSA 2 and free 120. So I think that is how you can plan your exams.
Okay, maybe a couple of more questions. Praneet, how long does it take for Form 183 to get certified?
Okay, so it also depends on if your school is participating in the EMSWP, that is the online portal. In that case, it usually gets done in 10 days, but current waiting times are more. ECFMG is more slow now. So it is, don't be surprised if it goes to 2 to 3 weeks if your school participates in UMSWP. If not, it is paper based. You need to get the signed signature from the dean and then mail it to ECFMG. That is taking a lot of time. So it might go anywhere up to 6 weeks also. So if it goes beyond that, then call ECFMG and inquire if something went wrong. But otherwise, you can wait up to 6 weeks.
Okay. I'll take the last question before we wrap up. Is OET compulsory before clerkships? And then the answer is no. But if you're doing clerkships and the university has a policy, some universities pre-COVID had a policy of TOEFL or some of those things. You can check in with them. As far as I understand, as of now, it is not a compulsion. Okay. That was all that we had. And guys, keep asking questions. This will be on our YouTube channel and we'll look at this video. So any questions that we have missed, when this video goes live, you can keep asking and we'll answer it. Look at our Step 1 mentorship. We have a Telegram group. We have also, many other channels, Instagram, where you can ask us questions, and hopefully we'll be able to help you. Good luck, everyone, and thank you.